My name is Parisa Shahmir. I play Mary in the Watermill production of Jesus Christ Superstar. Yeah, Mary's a really interesting character, actually, and when approaching her, I don't think I realised quite how nuanced, and that's something I've kind of been working with the directing team on too. But actually, there is a lot of nuance within that part, and it's been really great to kind of dig into that and the moments where she does speak and the moments where she doesn't speak, and finding reasons for that, and this kind of push and pull with her relationship with Jesus and with Judas, and that almost kind of not a love triangle, but that kind of triangular relationship. But it's been really interesting to dig into that, person on a pedestal being Jesus, and almost being that person's confidant. But then when you then start to put that person on that pedestal and start to develop feelings for them, and trying to adjust that, and having to let someone live out their destiny, or whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
and not being able to, like, kind of wanting to step in, but knowing that you have to step back. So that's been a really interesting journey, which I think on face value, just kind of listening to the cast recording, I never really understood. And it's been really, just really interesting and kind of like expansive to be able to dig really deep into that character and pull out all this really lovely stuff. And yeah, we're in week 4 of rehearsals. We go into tech next week, and I'm so excited. I've never worked at the Watermill before, and I it's a brilliant show, and they are a brilliant company. So I was like, oh, it'll be a nice summer, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And oh my goodness, like the cast that they have on the show, like the casting team have done an incredible job. Everybody is so exceptionally talented. And having the music played live on stage is like a huge thing. And I really hope that's going to bring something really kind of exciting and tangible to the piece. Because I mean, what an iconic score. And you're going to see it, the actors playing that and then breaking out into character. But also just like really kind, funny, generous, good people. And I think that can really make a production, because then you want to work together to make it the best it can be. And we also have an incredible dance ensemble in the show too, who aren't playing instruments, but who bring like such energy and, again, like such talent. I mean, they do things I could like only ever dream of. So really, I think I knew this was going to be a nice job, and I have been overwhelmed by actually how brilliant this rehearsal process has been. And I'm now so excited to kind of spend my summer in Newbury and bring this amazing piece to life with an amazing group of people. I think it's going to be really fun.
It'll be a great summer for you. Sorted for the summer. But then obviously, as you say, it's a show that's been around 50 plus years now. But what was your kind of first encounter with the material? Can you remember when that was and how it kind of affected you?
I mean, the songs I'd kind of, or a handful of the songs that I've heard throughout my life. I think who hasn't? But I think the first time I saw it, I had a few friends in the Regent's Park production. I think the one around pandemic time, so maybe like more the stage concept. But one of my friends was the dance captain, and one of my friends was playing Judas, and it was just really, again, I think taking something that originated as a concept album and putting that album on stage was just really exciting and brave. And I think material that is, is biblical. It's classical in a way.
Yeah.
And then this rock score that is, I mean, a lot of bops, like, so some really great tunes in there. But also the music, like the orchestration of it is fantastic. So I think first seeing that on also Regent's Park, I mean, what a venue, and everything that comes out of there is so brilliant. But I think I was really blown away by the production there. And so having, like, Mary's actually a role I've auditioned for, not for the Regent's Park production, but I have auditioned for it before. So it's really lovely to kind of be a role that now I kind of get to embody. And yeah, I think the music has always been otherworldly in a way. And it's great to get to dig into that because we are playing it, to then be like, oh, you're really kind of getting into the nuts and bolts of the orchestration in this production because you're hearing it in your ear because the trombonist is behind you on stage.
And what's your kind of preparation like when you're building that character? Like you say, the Bible's such a iconic thing in the world. Like, how do you kind of prepare your version of Mary?
Yeah, definitely. I actually haven't gone too much into the biblical, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
I think I'm interested in exploring, like, and I feel like this in most work I do and in the work that I write to, I want to explore like a human.
Yeah.
And I'll bring the Bible, I'll dip into the Bible at some point. But I think I'm more interested in finding like the real human emotion in her journey, in her experience, and seeing what the other actors bring to me and what I bring to them, rather than feeling too tied to something which is ultimately a perspective.
Yeah.
Somebody. So, and what has then like an extra layer on top of for this production, because we are playing instruments as well, is not only, okay, when my character has this scene on stage or this interaction on stage and I'm actually speaking. No, okay, now my character is accompanying this song. Why? What is the language of the music, the actual music that I'm playing? And similarly, the flute player is thinking, what's the language of the instrument that I'm playing?
Yeah.
So I think that's been like an all new level of character work that I've never had to, in when I did Fisherman's Friends, I was playing guitar on stage in that, but the character was a songwriter. That was very much a part of her language. And this isn't that. So that's been really exciting to be like, oh, okay, now it's like there's a responsibility within the company to tell the story through the music and then to come out and embody the characters and finding those whys and what your reason is. And I mean, Stuart Morley, our musical supervisor, is nothing short of a genius and has really, he said this to us in the first week, and he's really thought about when like divvying up orchestrations and giving things to certain characters and certain people, why is that instrument playing that thing? And there will be a reason for it. And so it's our job to kind of dig and figure out what that reason is. But that has been fascinating. And for my first like full actor muso production, I mean, it's just something I would love to do again. I think it's such a challenge, but it's so rewarding, I think, when you get it right.
Yeah. Obviously, you're a musician yourself anyway, so obviously you've got that background, I suppose, anyway, but it must make, like you say, the score feel so much more alive when it's there right in front of you being created every night.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And I am a musician, and also the music is like incredibly complex. So in the first week of rehearsals, I'd already learned like 6 more chords. And our lovely Judas Max Alexander Taylor, who is a sensational guitarist, and I owe him a lot of gratitude because he's taught me a lot of things that I needed to know in that first week, and is always there to help me figure out a new chord shape. So yeah, I think an understanding of the musical language has been great, but it is a really complex score. And I'm just playing the guitar. So some people are doing like rhythm guitar mainly. Yeah. I'm blown away every day by the quality of musicianship in this show. I definitely have the easiest job, and I'm really inspired by the company and hoping to learn some more instruments over the summer if people have the patience to teach me. We'll see.
You'll come out like a full score. You'll have everything. You'll have it all by the end.
Multi-instrumentalist. That's my plan.
You'll be sorted. But then, obviously, as you say, it's such a grand show, but obviously in the Watermill, it's quite an intimate venue, and obviously you've not been doing it, teching in the venue yet. But how do you kind of prepare for the intimacy of the venue?
I don't know. I think we're just going to have to kind of see what happens in a way. But I think that's going to bring something. I think it kind of comes back to that human experience of like in the big, these massive iterations in arenas and these big grand venues, which are incredible. You're almost like a backseat and seeing it from afar. And I think here it's like you're going to be like less than a meter. If you're in the front row, you're going to be like less than a meter away from the actor. Yeah. And so I think it's going to bring like a real humanity to it, that like, and a relatability that people will be able to really feel what we're feeling, and I hope then find the story, because I think sometimes when things, and like I've written a musical myself, which is kind of inherently sung through, and I think sometimes it's easy to get, when you're watching something, to get lost in the music, especially when it's brilliant music, which Jesus Christ Superstar is. Yeah. And I hope that having this added intimacy will allow people, whilst the music will still be incredible, to not get lost in it, because the action is right there. So they'll kind of really see it, is my hope.
Yes. I mean, I've already been to the Watermill once, and it was Lord of the Rings. Like, how they managed to like do that like in the venue is mad.
Yeah, and I think, you know, Paul, our director, he's seasoned at that venue, so he knows it like the back of his hand, and I think is kind of knows exactly what he wants to do and how to morph that space into the thing that will best serve the story. So I think we've been well prepared by the team who've really thought about all these things, and I think when we get into tech next week, it will be about kind of embodying that. But there is a section of the show that will be happening outside.
It's on the website. So it is.
Okay, cool. The show will be happening outside. And I think for that, it will require a larger level of performance, whereas something happening in the inside space will require a more nuanced, maybe like stripped back performance. So I think that's also going to be interesting too, of finding, you know, your range as an actor, and okay, here I really need to not push, but, you know, expand, and here I need to kind of pull it back. So it'll be good to kind of flex those muscles, I think.
Yeah. And then kind of, as you say, it's been performed so many times. How do you go about putting your own stamp into this like version? How do you bring you into the character?
I try not to listen to a lot of class recording.
Yeah.
I think that is, and obviously everyone's interpretation is always so different. But for me, that's why I like working on new work a lot, because there is no
pressure.
Preconceived idea. So a bit of that, and also a bit of finding I think kind of stripping away everything that you think you know. Yeah. And again, Stuart was great with this when we were kind of learning the material. And a lot of Mary's songs, they're really beautiful songs. And he said this great thing to me. He was like, don't be seduced by the beautiful song. Go deeper. And that was a really great note, because I feel like it made me go, okay, forget everything you know about this. Look at the words and like, what do they mean? This just sounds really obvious acting, right? But I think so often, you know, in all these big grand songs, like I dreamed a dream and I don't know how to love him and on my own, and they're so like luscious that you just want to like sing them. Yeah. And resisting the urge to sing them, I think is interesting. So yeah, I think it's been a unique challenge, I think. And what again has been nice, and I think because of the nature of this production and it being Acting Muso, whilst it is kind of like a long-running show that's been around for a long time, there has been a certain degree of flexibility that we have been afforded, within reason, of course. Yeah. Like, we want to honour what's on the page, and never want to kind of change what the writers have intended. But there is a certain amount of freedom within there, which has been really beautiful, because I think sometimes you may not, but because things work quite methodically, and understandably so, because that's how successful shows get very successful. So yeah, I think there has been a certain amount of freedom we've been afforded to be able to explore. And it's a really lovely, safe room as well. I think the team have set up a really beautiful space to be able to explore and try things and get it wrong and get it wrong again. And is there even a wrong? No, but just, you know, just trying things and seeing what feels good and kind of going from there. Yeah, I don't know if that answered the question, but
yeah, right. But they must be like a nice creative space when you have got that little bit of freedom to play around and then kind of find it together, I suppose.
Yeah, 100%.
And then if you could turn the tables here and ask Mary a question about her life or kind of what she goes through, what would you like to ask her?
Oh, that's such a good question. What would I ask Mary? As a woman in 2025, I would ask her how she held her tongue all the time. That's what I would ask her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess I would ask her, but and I think she is someone who is quite new, she holds herself. Mary doesn't really kind of lose her shit ever, even when, and I think the point that you would expect her to, she stays silent. Yeah. Like when Jesus is being arrested and crucified and all of these things, she's kind of a witness. And I don't think internally silent. I imagine there's a lot going on there. Yeah. So one, I guess I would want to ask her about that and how that felt and how she dealt with that. But yeah, in the earlier parts, I'd be like, how did you hold your tongue with all these men talking all the time? So that's just what I want to know. Because I could.
Yeah, no, valid. I mean, I can't also talk to you and go back to November last year. What a night. Incredible. That's the whole thing was just great. People weren't there, then they should have been there. It was so good.
Well, we'll do another one. We'll do another one. Working on lots of things. I'm trying to get my musical out there in some way and get more of my writing out. But I really appreciate you coming. And it's just, music is such a beautiful, powerful thing. And I think more than ever, we need that in the world right now. We need connection. We need art. But no, I'm so glad you were there, and thank you for your kind words about it.
Such like a great night. The music was so good. You were great. The whole it was the first time I've been to the venue as well, so it was like such a nice venue.
They were really lovely as well. Like really made us comfortable. Everything we needed. Crazy Cox. So much respect for them. I would really love to do another concert there again.
Yes, please do. Please do.
I will. I'll call you.
But yeah, obviously, as you just said, musical Medusa. Kind of, how's it going? Where are you up to with that in the world? How's it?
Absolutely. So I did NAMT last year in New York. That was in October, and then I was at Beam a couple of weeks ago. In the first week of rehearsals for this, actually, they kindly gave me 2 days off to go to Beam, and I did an artist spotlight there, which is so Beam they did maybe like 30 shows, so they all have little slots. Some 25, some 15, some 10. And then there was 12 of us who had an artist spotlight, which was a 10-minute kind of pitch for you to pitch yourself as the artist. And I kind of did that, but through the means of the show I'd already written, and used that to then inform the things I want to write next, which was just really great. And I also hadn't sang a lot of those songs. Obviously, I sang a few at the concert.
Yeah.
I hadn't sang those songs in such a long time. And so it was really lovely to kind of reconnect with that material in that way. And yeah, had some really lovely feedback and some really lovely comments from people, and setting up some meetings from that experience. I've just finished a new draft of the piece, which I'm really excited about. It feels really strong. And yeah, I'm kind of still looking for kind of partners or people to help develop it. Something I'd really love to do would be to at some point do a kind of one-night concert, like full concert in London, whether it's at like the Palladium or something like that, and get a really incredible cast. Because I think the music is kind of the selling point. It is sung through anyway, but I think as a songwriter, I worked hard to kind of craft really great, catchy songs that I think people will really vibe with. And something I'd really love to do with that, because of like the sensitive nature of the piece and the themes it discusses, is do this concert, but then have a percentage of the proceeds to go to charity for survivors. Because that's something that was kind of the whole point of writing the show. It's kind of what it's about. And something super important to me as I carry on with it. So hopefully a concert at some point soon, development workshop. If you know any producers who want to be a part of Selling Brilliant, get them to call me.
Let's go on. Yeah, like I say, I've heard a couple of the songs when you did it. It'd be great.
Thank you. I'm excited. I feel like good things are coming. It's just about the timing.
Yeah. But it will get there.
But when it does happen, don't worry.
I'll do that. Cool. Touch wood, it's going to happen soon. Then obviously you've done a few things in your career now, but how do you kind of reflect on the journey to where you are right now? How do you kind of reflect on that?
I think with a lot of gratitude. I think and with a lot of gratitude for the jobs I've got, and with a lot of gratitude for the jobs I didn't get. And I think hindsight is such a beautiful thing of not really understanding at the time why something didn't go your way. And even at times when it's like I've botched auditions and gone in and cracked, or like just not done myself proud. But then I'm like, well, maybe if I did go in and do myself proud, I might have got that job, and maybe I wasn't supposed to get that job. And when I look at the journey of my career and the kind of things that I want to be a part of, I'm really passionate about the shows that I have been a part of. And I think I have become like a little selective, I suppose. I do want to be working on new stuff, or things that, you know, Jesus Christ Superstar isn't new, but it's a new iteration.
Yeah.
And the Actor Muso thing, and it being a place like the Watermill, it really excites me. And it does feel like a collaboration. And it's interesting because I feel like I work less on things. Like I finished Fisherman's Friends from when I started this job, Jesus Christ, 2 years ago. Yeah. And I've done workshops and I've been writing a lot and doing lots of great things. But in terms of like a public paying performance, 2 years ago was my last one. But I'm actually okay with that, because if it means I've got to wait for the right things, and in the meantime, then I can write and I can workshop and I can live my life and garner all that experience and grow, so that then when I do get jobs, I'm ready for them and I've had life experience. And the more that I write, I think it makes me a better actor and a better performer, and I can better understand what another writer's trying to do. So I do, you know, it's cliche, but I do think like it's all kind of happening for some kind of reason, because of the thing that you ultimately want or want to kind of create. So yeah, I'm so grateful to my past self for the decisions that we have made, and I'm really grateful for all the people who've like trusted me with their work, and the brilliant collaborators that I've met, and I think that as I grow up, it becomes more about that. It becomes more about like meeting people and connecting with people, and then those connections carry on, and then you might work on something else together, or you might create something together. And ultimately, I think that's what we're all trying to do, is just you know, find something that we're both really passionate about and make it. I think it's such a freeing, fun, inspiring feeling. And yeah, I'm really grateful that a lot of the things that I've been working on recently and in my past have really shaped me into the performer I am today. So yeah, a lot of gratitude.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of obviously work front of house in a venue, and kind of ever since I started there, it's been like, like you say, surrounded by that creative energy, kind of changes everything. It's like every day, everyone's got their own little things popping off, and it's so exciting.
It is. I mean, we're so lucky when you think about it. We were doing a warm up the other day, like a movement warm up, and at the end we were just like jumping around like we were at a rave or something. And I turned to my friend in the cast and I was like, some people are in an office right now.
Yeah.
10:30 on a Tuesday morning, we're just like, what?
Yeah.
Great. I'd like to do this more. And then we're making some very serious art at the same time. But in preparation, we're jumping around like loons, and it's very fun.
As it should be. But you've kind of touched on it there. What kind of keeps you inspired? Like, what gives you inspiration kind of to keep going, keep writing, or keep playing roles like Mary?
I think it's I think it's realizing that like this industry is a challenge. I'm not saying hard. I mean, I was like, oh, it's so hard, and it is hard, but like it's a challenge. And we also all made this choice. Yes. We could all go and work wherever else and get a handsome paycheck every month, and we know what it's going to be. but we made a choice to not. And, you know, such as I think, I'm sure I'm not the only person who has this, like, you know, it gets to winter and you're unemployed and it's dark and it's raining and it's the UK and you're like, oh, I'm so depressed and all this stuff. And a really good friend of mine said to me, she was like, remember, like, not, this sounds mean, she didn't mean it like that. We were having like a deeper meaningful. And she was like, you know, you chose this.
Yeah.
And I was like, I did choose this. So if it really gets that bad, I can go and do something else. But for me, like, music always calls me home. I don't know what it is, but like, even if I have periods of like drought or depression or anything, the music will always find me again and remind me why I do what I do. And then it's when I have these moments when I'm working with people or when I'm writing my own piece and when I'm collaborating or I'm workshopping on a new thing and I'm just like, this is the moment. And it makes all of the challenge worth it, and almost more worth it, because you went, you know, it was a journey, not just like, and then I got this job and then I got this job and now I'm famous. It's like, no, like, that's not interesting. You know, no one would watch a show about that because boring. So it's like, it has to be more interesting. And then that stuff also informs your art and informs your craft. And I think, you know, those periods that I have been through, ups and downs, then all inform the performer that I am today and the artist that I am and the kind of work that I want to create. So I think that's how. But it's tricky, and, you know, we're all human, and absolutely I have times of doubt and like, maybe I should stop now, or maybe why am I writing this thing and does anyone care? But I've also worked really hard to combat that, and I'm just like, it's never going to happen if I give up.
Yeah.
That's a guarantee. So, and the reason I'm doing it, the core reason, is because I love to create. I would love the world. I would love, you know, shows in the West End and money and all of these things. But also, if I could just like be in a mountain and write songs every day of my life, I would die a happy woman. And that is the reason, I think. So coming back to that, I think, keeps me going. But it's hard sometimes. And that's, again, why art is so important and why community is so important. And having those people who will be like, come on, let's go to a gig, or let's go write a song, or let's, you know, go and dance, whatever it is. But it just reminds you why you're doing what you're doing.
Marvellous. And to kind of full circle everything, simply, why should anyone book tickets to see Jesus Christ Superstar?
Come. I think it's going to be so special. I really do. I mean, first of all, you should just come. I went to the Watermill yesterday with the cast, and oh my gosh, it was like it is the most beautiful place I've ever seen in my life. It's like a little nature retreat. There's a river, there's birds, there's trees, there's plants, there's a herb garden. Come for that for a start. And then that's worth the trip alone. But I think it's going to be a really special night. I think acting musician shows are so incredible. The level of craft is quite wild. And I think bringing that to this score is just going to be something so cool in such an intimate venue. I think it's going to be a really exciting, new, intimate iteration of the show. Also, what score? Also, just come for the score, and come to connect and come to see art, because we need it. We need it right now. And what a beautiful place to come and get out of the city and see something and be a part of something and be a participant in something. Because, again, I think the beautiful nature of the intimacy of this show means that you will feel like a participant. You won't just feel like an observer. I don't mean that to scare anybody off. You can just be an observer if you want, but it is a conversation. And the intimacy of a space like the Watermill will grant us that, I think. So just think it's going to be a great night, or afternoon. So yeah, come see us.
Marvellous. You are a gem.